Disneyland Paris's brand new Disney Adventure World opened on March 29, 2026. €2 billion spent, 8 years of construction, Europe's most anticipated park opening in a decade. The verdict from the world's most respected Disney commentators 2 months later was still the weakest Disney park on Earth. And before that verdict even landed, Disney itself may have tipped its hand. Its own official aerial promotional photograph of the reimagined park had been digitally altered, 2 operating attractions, Tower of Terror and Cars Road Trip, erased from the image entirely. Fans spotted it within hours. Disney never commented. When a company scrubs its own rides from its own promotional material, that is not a graphics error. That is institutional doubt frozen in a single image. So this is not a brand war, this is a structural audit. 5 measurable pressures that explain why Disneyland Paris may not be built to answer what Universal Studios Bedford is preparing for 2031. From physical constraints and capital leverage to travel friction, unfinished construction pipelines, and the genuine strengths Disney still holds. Each pressure compounds the last, and the first one is the pressure no amount of money can fix. Number 1, the footprint trap defines the contest before a single guest steps through the gates. The story begins with an image, Disney's own aerial promotional photo for Disney Adventure World, released to mark the park's grand reopening. 2 operating attractions, Tower of Terror and Cars Road Trip, vanished from the landscape, scrubbed out before the world's eyes. It was a moment of institutional self-editing, hinting at a deeper unease about what the park can truly show off. But the real constraint is not what appears in the marketing. It's the ground itself. Disneyland Paris's second gate, even after its transformation, remains hemmed in by its 140-acre inherited footprint. That boundary was set in 2002, dictated by the original Walt Disney Studios park layout and a dense web of backstage tunnels and utility corridors. These underground structures, essential for daily operations, cannot be easily moved or reconfigured. Any future expansion means building on top of, or demolishing, active infrastructure. Above ground, a French civil aviation cap holds new construction to approximately 80 metres, limiting the vertical ambition of any new landmark or thrill ride. Universal Studios Bedford, by contrast, enters the market with a 476-acre greenfield site and a height envelope reaching 115 metres. There are no legacy tunnels, no inherited grid, no invisible walls. The planning permission grants a blank canvas, ready for the tallest rides in Europe, and a master plan unconstrained by decades-old engineering. This is not a matter of investment scale or creative vision, it is geometry and regulation, an immovable baseline that sets the terms for everything that follows. Disneyland Paris brings operational maturity, a world-class hotel district, and generational brand power, but no amount of capital can stretch the boundaries of a 140-acre core or lift a skyline above an 80-metre ceiling. The contest begins and ends with the land itself. In second place, €2 billion and still last. This is the paradox facing Disneyland Paris after its 8-year Adventure World retrofit. The sum is staggering by any measure, representing the largest single-site investment in the resort's history. Yet, when set against Universal Studios Bedford's projected £4 to £6 billion greenfield commitment, the financial gap becomes more than just a matter of scale, it is a question of leverage. Disney's capital, however ambitious, must work within a rigid 140-acre footprint and a dense web of legacy infrastructure. Every euro spent is filtered through the constraints of existing tunnels, backstage corridors, and an operating park that cannot simply be paused or rebuilt from scratch. The result is a transformation that, while impressive, remains fundamentally bounded by decisions made decades ago. Universal, by contrast, is deploying its capital on a blank slate, 476 acres, with no inherited barriers, and a planning horizon that stretches to 2031. Analysts have been candid, even with Disney's operational strengths and the undeniable success of World of Frozen. The retrofit model cannot match the flexibility or future-proofing of a purpose-built resort. One prominent theme park analyst described Disney Adventure World as the weakest Disney park on Earth, reflecting a sentiment that even €2 billion of investment cannot fully erase the limitations of the original design. The lesson is not that Disney lacks ambition or expertise, but that capital deployed inside constraints delivers a different kind of return. The structural advantage in this contest belongs to greenfield money, not retrofit spend. Number 3. The British family cost barrier reshapes the competition long before anyone buys a ticket. For a family in London, the journey to Universal Studios Bedford is a straightforward domestic trip about 90 minutes from St Pancras by direct train, no passports, no border checks, and a fare structure that mirrors the daily commute. The same journey to Disneyland Paris means crossing the Channel, clearing UK and EU passport control, and navigating the new ETIAS travel authorization set to launch in late 2026. The Eurostar ride alone stretches to 3 or more hours door to door, with family fares commonly ranging from £250 to £600 depending on timing and demand. For many, the cost of just getting to Paris can exceed the price of park admission itself. Add in the paperwork, renewed passports, ETIAS forms, and the uncertainty of post-Brexit travel, and the friction grows. Meanwhile, Universal Bedford sits inside a domestic catchment of nearly 30 million people within a 2-hour drive, most of whom can reach the gates on a single train or motorway trip. Behavioural economics research shows that small increases in travel hassle sharply reduce repeat visits, especially for families with young children. In practice, this means Universal's domestic ease isn't just a convenience, it's a multiplier, turning structural headroom into actual attendance. For Disneyland Paris, even the most ambitious expansion cannot erase the reality that, for British families, the journey itself is now a competitive disadvantage. Number 4. The incomplete transformation at Disney Adventure World reveals a pressure point that no amount of investment can fully smooth over. The park's grand reopening on March 29, 2026 was meant to signal a new era, yet just 6 weeks later, a full park power outage brought most attractions to a standstill. Reports from Disney dining and guest videos circulating on social media captured the scale of the disruption, a midday shutdown that left entire sections of the park offline, with little official explanation forthcoming. For guests, the outage was more than an inconvenience. It was a reminder that even a rebuilt park can remain vulnerable to the limitations of its underlying infrastructure. Beyond the immediate impact of the outage, the transformation remains unfinished in ways that matter to both fans and analysts. Disney has yet to confirm opening dates for the much-anticipated Lion King-themed land or the Up Carousel, leaving the park's future pipeline in limbo. Despite a €2 billion overhaul and the celebrated debut of World of Frozen, the attraction slate still feels provisional, with key expansions stuck in the realm of speculation rather than schedule. This uncertainty has started to erode guest confidence, fueling online debate about whether the park's promise can keep pace with its delivery. The result is an operational fragility that shows how structural constraints can manifest not just in blueprints but in live fire moments and the slow drip of unfulfilled announcements. Number 5. The honest counter-argument stands as a necessary balance to the structural pressures outlined so far. Disneyland Paris is not simply a legacy park struggling to keep up. It remains, by every measurable standard, the most visited theme park in Europe, with 15.8 million guests recorded in 2024. This operational maturity is the product of 34 years refining guest flow, seasonal programming, and international logistics on a scale unmatched in the region. The resort's capacity is formidable, with up to 50,000 guests able to stay on site each night, supported by a hotel district that has become a destination in its own right for families across Europe and beyond. Disney's brand power is more than nostalgia. It drives year-round demand from a global audience, sustaining high occupancy and repeat visitation even as new competitors emerge. The recent launch of World of Frozen has drawn widespread acclaim, not just for its technical execution, but for its ability to generate fresh enthusiasm among both first-time and returning visitors. Reviews from the 2026 opening praise the immersive design and crowd management, reinforcing the park's reputation for delivering headline experiences. These are not trivial advantages. The infrastructure, the trained workforce, and the emotional connection forged over generations create a platform that no new entrant can replicate overnight. While Universal Studios Bedford will benefit from a blank slate and fewer inherited constraints, it will take years to build the operational depth and brand loyalty that Disneyland Paris already commands. The argument is not that Disney's strengths erase its structural limits, but that they moderate the scale of the challenge. The future of European theme parks will be shaped by both legacy and innovation, and Disneyland Paris enters this era with resources and expertise that remain formidable, even as the ground beneath it shifts. Across all 5 pressures, one pattern is clear. Legacy design limits cannot be erased by investment alone. Even with world-class operations and unmatched brand strength, geography and infrastructure shape destiny. In the era of purpose-built competitors, history is both Disneyland Paris's asset and its defining constraint.